All right, thank you. Okay, next slide. Welcome, everybody. My name is Pacharee, Brandnow.asia, and today we are going to be talking about zero budget marketing. For years, helping and working with startups, roughly around 40 of them that we help support in some way, shape, or form in their launch. We heard that, it's always budget. So what can they do in order to help themselves to get their names out there, get people to know about their products and services? So Sky and Sky, by the way, heads up our digital products, started to put together these things so that it's to help you. And one of the other things that we also notice is brands, when they're first starting out, they have challenges in terms of, making decisions on how to get the look to be consistent so that it makes them identifiable. It's like every time you see Nike or a Nike swoosh, it's a Nike product, or, sportswear or shoes or accessories or something of that nature. So this is where we're also wanting to help you. And the other thing is about how do you then stay consistent, right? So we also want to share that too, because I think when we went through the pandemic, we also, got kind of off track and really needed to get back into our schedule and routine of things. And the marketing meetup, as well as these monthly webinars, has really helped us to do that. And we'll show you also how that's helped. Okay, next, please. All right, so this is our checklist for today that we're going to walk you through. Roughly, the presentation is going to be, I think, around 20 plus case studies, roughly around 30 minutes, and then it will leave us with, some time for Q&A. So I'll try to be mindful and get us all to wrap up before by 3 p.m. But if it runs over, we understand some of you may needing to go because you have other appointments and other things to finish in your workplace or at home. That's okay too. All right, so we'll have a checklist, our targeted audience, persona, and if any of these terminology that you hear or see is new to you, feel free to type in the chat, and then Sky can give you a quick answer about what they are, or give you a link to something that will help you. So we want to help you to stay connected on the dots of these things so that it helps you to understand everything in context. Content pillars and key messages, campaign creation and scheduling, and then what's beyond just doing things online. Yeah, so let's move to the next slide. So starting with building the foundation. Be honest, most of the startups that we work with usually don't build the foundation because oftentimes they're just doing a lot of things on the fly. What happens is when they start to get into the growth stage, so this is just an observation from our side, when they get into the A series, that's when they, oh, I need to make my ads more consistent. I got to make all of my messaging more consistent so that people remember my brand. That's when it starts to become critical, because as you grow, you want them to remember you so that they come back to do business with you. Okay, next, please. Okay, so we have the brand checklist. Now, for those of you who are new to this, we have a brand planner. It's our free giveaway product. You can scan here and go into our Google Drive. And in the Google Drive, you can then download this free PDF and start populating your information. We recommend starting working with it because in the brand planner, it's going to ask you all these important questions. You may have them, maybe it's between you and your founders, and it's always kind of like been in the back of your mind. What is your mission, your vision, your values, your target market, your targeted audience, your brand story, but you just haven't recorded it because perhaps it's only been just between you, 2 or 3 other people, and because you started it together, it's always kind of like been clear to you what it is. But as you go through the growth stage of, your brand and your organization, you start to hire people, and then they want to use the logo, and you realize when you initially do it just between the 2 or 3 of you, you always understood how you wanted your logo used, but you never had to start to tell the 5th employee, the 8th employee, the 12th employee, or the 100th employee. And then all of a sudden you start to realize that your brand presentation start to go astray. So that's why it's good to log it into the brand planner and define what's the do's and the don'ts. What's the actual Pantone or the CMX code, so that people know to use the actual correct purple, or use the correct blue, or use correct green. And if you notice, I'm referring to my own logo here. The other thing is, like, there's tones that you want your message to have. If you notice, like, some tones, for example, some of you may be buying software. Oh, everybody wants to start their AI companion. Okay, all right, so AI companion to start to record and all these other things. Okay, let's go back to your mood and tone. Some businesses, as you will see, like if they're Visa or IBM, they're very formal, and the way they present themselves is quite, very neat and sharp, right? And then you have some brands like AppSumo. The founder is Noah. No, what's his last name? He's a really funny guy. Do you remember him, Sky? Noga Keegan, I think is his last name, right? And he's a very funny dude. And the way he presents himself and talks, he looks like a gunslinging cowboy half the time. He's quite funny. Sorry, can you go back? So you want to establish this in your brand planner, in your guidebook, and also how you want it presented, whether it's online or offline. So these are decisions when it's recorded. This is also part of what we do when we do the introduction to new employees is, oh, by the way, this is our brand. These are our brand values. This is how you use our logos. And we send them to the resources that we have online. And we also have a lot of training videos, so this way it helps them. Persona helps marketing team by providing a clearer picture who their target audience is. Yes, thank you, Kun Napasan. We will also take you through some examples of this as well, and how we've used it in campaigns with clients. Yeah, next. Okay, so content pillars. If you never heard of this, this is a really good way to plan, because I found it that solopreneurs and MSMEs, when you don't know who you are targeting your message for, is very difficult. I'm sorry. Sky, can you please take over from here?
Yep.
Thank you.
So I want to start with answering Kunjay first. So persona in terms of marketing is very similar to the target audience, or the key market or key person, or one person that you would be targeting your message to. When we are doing different marketing campaigns, we are not able to contribute and communicate with all the different sample sizes or the market in general. We need to understand a few, or like 2 or 3 key markets or customers that we'll be targeting. An example of targeting a persona would be, let's say, college student, uh, a university student in their 4th year looking for jobs. Then that would be a persona of the ideal customer. We're basically trying to segment our customers. So the content pillar in general is the different pillars on base is sorry. So the content pillar is how your content will be created for your brand. An example of this would be, if you're a brand, if you are a gym trying to create content, you need to have pillars in place so it directs your brand to a seamless brand image, creating that audience pool and having that brand recall. An example of content pillar would be, let's say, educational content. As a gym, we'll be posting educational content, which would be regarding towards food, what kind of food and nutritions would you be eating or taking, exercise, and the other one would be, let's say, motivation. So these will be your three different content pillars if you are running a gym. Food,
Sky,
yep,
maybe you want to take it to the next example where we had
yeah,
done the live one, yeah?
yeah. So just to summarize that, if you were a gym and you were to build a content, you need an example of this would be you focusing on motivation, focusing on food, nutrition, and training. So all the contents you'll be creating for social media or any other platforms would be revolving around these three elements or pillars. One of our client, which is Weekend, uh, has a lot of courses regarding women entrepreneurship. So the way we uh, created the pillars where first we looked into the pain points of each markets. So Weekend, which provides cohorts for women entrepreneurship, the key main points for women who are willing to join or who Weekend feels is the right audience are someone who is going through loneliness in terms of entrepreneurial journey, having a hard time at getting the problem solved. So if they enroll in this cohort, they'll learn how to solve problems. Loneliness is like since it's a cohort, there will be a lot of different uh, entrepreneurs from different industries that you guys can partner with and learn with. And the networks in your network, like the key part or key problem here that pain point that Weekend was trying to solve is focusing on the network and how that translates to the net worth, focusing on women empowerment and partnerships with space and space for women in showcasing their product service. And the main thing that they want to push, that key narrative here was success, independence, and freedom. While doing that, you can see on the left hand side is one of the content that we created for Weekend. So Build a Better You was a campaign that was run within a weekend for a limited period of time. And another example of this is focusing on pinpoint while creating the content pillars. Is uh, we had a university we worked closely with, where it's a culinary school called Vettel. It's an international school. So many students that were enrolling were having a hard time understanding what the course was about. The rich experience of and the things we needed to highlight from the university side was the rich experience of the professors and the chef. And the other thing was how the skills that you learn in this university was or can be transferable in different industries. So one of the key things that we did here was focus on testimonials from our from Vattel's previous students and where they were. So some of them already had a business, some of them were master chefs, and others were working with a big hotel chains. So those one of the content pillar we created based on that were testimonials because we wanted to focus on transferable skill. The next one was not understanding the course. So in order to clarify that, we had another content pillar which was more about day in a life, and content you see on the right hand side, which is more like what does the university provide and day in a life as a university student in Vattel, and so on and so forth. If you guys have any questions regarding content pillar, feel free to put it in the chat.
Okay, so I think this is going to help a little bit more in terms of understanding. Just to add to what Sky had already mentioned, which is like you will hear the terminology target market, right? So let's say if you're a software company, your target market specifically is solving maybe so I couldn't see the brand plan from the QR code. Okay, well, Sky,
We'll put the link.
in a link.
Yep.
Yeah, could you grab the link while I am explaining this part? So you have your target market. So your target market may just be, okay, let me put it in the context of Grab. Often I get a lot of questions about how do we help Grab do market entry, because we met them in 2013 and we worked with them about 3.5 years. Basically from A series when they got the initial funding up until about D series, and then they moved from Malaysia into Singapore. So their target market was basically like people who need to use a taxi or don't have a personal vehicle. But then we had to niche down into a target audience. Why? Because they were the third app. And we already had Uber in the marketplace, which was catering to, you know, a specific clientele. And then we also had Easy Taxi, which is a Rocket Internet. So when they first had entered, you know, it is a good app with a good idea. However, we really needed to niche down into who the target audience. And we looked at some of the research and the data that they had from Malaysia and a little bit from Singapore. And we observed some of the customer behaviors. So there was about 9 segments that we started to niche down and really targeted with content pillars and doing, you know, they were doing some aspects of it from a marketing, running Google ads and social media ads. And we were doing more of the softer parts, which was like more PR, more social media, more storytelling. So what we were, the first 3 targeted audience that we address was young mothers with children who don't have a personal vehicle and need door-to-door service. So basically they want to get picked up with their baby and their prems and all this products and stuff that they need for their children to go in and out of the house to run their errands, and then also get picked up from the malls that they went to in order to come back. So that was the first targeted audience. A second targeted audience was young females in the city who are either going to university, going out late, and they could use a safety feature. Okay, Diane is also asking for the QR code, Sky. So if you could share that, please. So, and then they could use this safety feature, which is to share the link, you know, share your ride and let people know what time you're coming back. So initially it wasn't like, hey, this is, you know, your delivery is now going from my house to your, it was then, it was initially used as a safety feature, and that's how we highlighted it to that specific targeted audience. So third one is family, friends, and caretakers of those who need to regularly go and get medical services or attention. Let's say, for example, someone who is recovering from a car accident or a stroke, or somebody with kidney dialysis, and they regularly need to go back to the clinic and get that service, but they don't have a personal vehicle. Or someone recovering from a stroke and they need to go to see their speech therapist. Sorry, somebody said something about Cambodia. Sorry, I didn't understand. Oh, okay, Marcel, no problem. We can share the recording with you later if you like. So basically we were targeting this targeted audience that they could get, you know, door-to-door service, meaning like the Grab taxi could come pick them up at the door. They don't need to have their loved ones outside, you know, in the cold, in the hot, in the rain, or, you know, just in inclement weather, and that they can go and get services from the medical clinics or the hospital. So this is the way of taking, you know, your audience and understanding their pain points, and then addressing those pain points, and then sharing and telling those stories. Okay. If you have any questions, feel free to type them into the chat. Next, please.
Regarding the tools, we often have different questions from our different clients asking for what is the right tool. And we always recommend to check your industries, because there are always tools that are industry specific that are more relevant to you guys compared to for us. Because if we are working in a marketing and communication as a marketing and communication agency, the tools we use might be completely different for a hospital that is working in a healthcare B2B space. Uh, so some of the common tools that we recommend is Canva. Canva is like a design is similar to Adobe, but it's very basic. It's very easy to use. Um, you can just go, you can create an account. It's free for most part. Some features you might need to upgrade it. You can just try it out. There are some of the competitors for Canva would be Trello is a good competitive for that. We Trello or Create Vista. You can just Google it. When you are trying to create a brand book, you can use the platform. Oh, sorry.
What was the name of this platform, Sky? I
Uh,
think it was called Simplify or something.
yeah,
And it,
Simplify is the platform.
yeah, and it can also help you make your brand book. But I think this brand book is very image driven, whereas our brand planner deals with, your values, your key messages, and several other things. So you can compare between our brand planner and this online tools. And I think there may be some limitations as a free tool, and then at some point they might ask you to pay. So
Yeah. So all of the tools, I am going to put it in the chat for you guys. The links to all the tools.
mhm.
Yep. Uh, Gemini is a AI large language model from Google. You can either use ChatGPT, Claude, or other different chatbots that are even AI driven to help you narrow down your content pillars, your brand colors, or other branding related stuff, just to put it all together in one space. The last one is MailChimp. MailChimp is an email aggregator and mass email distributor. The reason we use MailChimp or any other additional external email service provider is to provide or send mass emails. We'll be talking about that shortly here. And before you start using any tools, we recommend to do some research for the best practices for your specific industries.
Yes, because every industry has their own way of doing things. So B2B versus B2C will be a little bit different. So
Yes.
next, I think this is some of the case studies that Sky wanted to share. Yeah, can you
Yep.
do them? Yeah.
Yep. So the fact of the matter is the facts that you always talk about your product or your service is just going to tell. But if you tell the background of your product, why you created the product is most likely going to increase your sales. Uh, we have some example of two brands here. One of them is a Dollar Shave Club. It's a shaving company. It's a shaving kit company that retails for $1. I think that it went up to $5. It's a subscription business model, and the way they do their marketing, the way it started is how they use humor and direct consumer. It's despite of using less budget or minimal budget while creating the video. The video you see on the top, our blades are freaking great. Uh, that was a very sorry. That was a very uh, good campaign for them, which did phenomenal. Uh, they got coverage from different media's outlet, and the guy you see is not an actor, but he is the founder of Dollar Shave Club. What he did was just explain, use humor, to describe the product and what the product does and why he started the company. A similar example can be taken through Burger King. on the left hand side, you see the billboards, the ad campaigns that are done through mass, like huge number of budget. On the right hand side, you see a campaign they did. It's the campaign is the campaign revolves around how we, or there was a misconception of how fast food has preservatives and it's very artificial and it's bad for your health. Using Burger King being more creative, using the creative brains, they decide to start a clip. So on the left hand side, you see the burger whooper uh, on the day one. On the right hand side, you would see day 34. They just clicked or had a video time lapse for 34 days on how the burger was rotting. And that generated the media value of about 40 million US dollars. Yeah. So you see, even though you can run billboard ads and other different social media ads without with budget, uh, being more creative and just using that humor or any proactive, um, creative workflow or ideas, putting the pen and paper together can result in high number of media value or ROI in the future. Not necessarily connecting to, your marketing efforts to the budget.
Okay, be consistent.
Yeah. So while you're creating content for your brand, for your business, we have to be consistent. When was the last time you saw Batman wearing a white dress or a black dress? I mean, a pink dress. Every time you see Batman, you would picture gray, dark gray, or a black suit. Uh, when we were younger, when we used to watch cartoons, the cartoon character used to have the same uniforms. So that creates brand recall. Being consistent, what gets repeated gets remembered. So being consistent is the key here. Uh, yeah, well, a case study of this could be Mr. Beast. He is one of the or the biggest YouTuber with 324 million subscribers, is very famous for few things: extreme challenges, generous giveaways, philanthropic endeavors, and unique concepts. Uh, sorry. Here are some examples of what he does. So on the left hand side, you see him replicating Squid Games. Squid Games was a very popular series back in 2020, 2021 during the pandemic from South Korea. He replicated that. The winner got 500,000 USDs. So he has these challenges, and that is a common ground. And every time you see someone giving away money or doing big challenges, it reminds you of, or most people with Mr. Beast. YouTube and giveaways equals to Mr. Beast. And YouTube and fun and interesting challenges equals to Mr. Beast. That the pattern, he's trying to create a pattern that is consistent and generates brand recall. Another example of this is Midday Square. It's being more consistent. So Midday Square is a chocolate brand company. They started around 2 years back. Uh, the key narrative that they are pushing out here is being more authentic, uh, engaging with social media, um, and data-driven digital content. If you search for Midday Squares, you'll see a lot of content uh, that is targeted towards uh, Gen Zs and younger millennials. So they have their own podcast. It's a chocolate company. So they have their own podcast. Uh, they have behind the scenes TikTok channel where they discuss about why they started, what are they doing, what are they doing today. It's a lot of background story to build that human authentic connection. And they also create some memes and music videos just revolving their business, and that connects with their or target audience. Uh, if you guys are interested, I can share you all the links to the images we have here. So beyond social media.
Thanks, Guy.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So beyond doing stuff, today we're not covering ads because ads would require you to spend budget. So, and it's a zero budget marketing webinar. Okay, so we want to touch a little bit on PR. But before we go into that, I wanted to share with you that in our world, we have own, earn, paid, and shared, right? So if your budget is limited in the paid, you want to do as much as you can in your own, earn, and paid. Own, earn, and shared media. So yeah, minimizing what you have to spend in the output. Next, please. Okay. So we want to advocate for you to build your own mailing list. Now, some people think of this as old-fashioned, but if you guys are in Gmail or Outlook like me and the rest of the team, you'll notice that you will get ads coming through them. Even in Messenger, using the free Facebook stuff. And of course, when you are using anything for free, they're going to target you for ads. That's how, even when you try to use ad blockers, sometime you're going to end up, with issues trying to access if you use the ad blockers, because they want access to you if you want access to their platform. By building your emailing list, this becomes what we call own media. So you own this media. And there are some ways to use this own media. So think of it as, this is a Sky example. It's like, is the difference between leasing or renting an apartment with a fickle landlord, like I mentioned. If you are not, if you're going to use ad blockers, they're going to use some other tools, and you're going to end up with limited access. So you're going to get kicked out of the platform. But when you build your own mailing list and use your own EDM system, which nominal cost, compared with always needing to run ads each time, you own your own house, and every time somebody comes into your house, they are going to be subjected to all the artwork and advertising that's on your wall. And cost of advertising invariably will always continue to go up and up, because they want to make money. That's how it is. So, and if you want to be frugal in how you spend your marketing budget, then I highly advocate you use something like MailChimp or other like them, which is like, could be Sendinblue or MailerCloud or MailerLite. We've gone through a number of different EDM service providers. Next, please. Okay. So why start your mailing list? So for those of you who are familiar with the marketing funnel, the mailing list lands you in what we call MOFU. So at the top of the marketing funnel, the tofu is like when you do PR, it creates an awareness. So once they have an awareness about your product or services, maybe they want to sign up just to see what you're talking about. So the getting on that subscription is part of MOFU. And then although they could be on the list for 6 months to a year or many years, it's possible that, you at some point you will convert them. Remember, every product or service it could either be low touch or high touch. So for example, a high touch is going to be something like a house or a car. You're not going to buy these things regularly every 6 months or every year. This is like it may happen a few times or 6, 7 times in your lifetime. So it's a longer sales cycle. So as a result, they require more information, and they need, a lot of contact, and they need a lot of explanation about the products itself. And it helps you to keep in contact with them and also build that relationship, and be the person who's actually helping to educate them about these types of products. Let's say if it's a car or a house. And then from there, you can also get insights as to, oh, when they visited the last time they looked at my e-newsletter, I could see that, they spent time on this and they clicked on that, and it starts to give you insights in their consumer behavior. Okay. So it becomes a very useful tool for you over time. Next, please. All right, one more thing. This guy like Steve Jobs. PR. So PR provides maximum visibility, and it's a way of passing the Google sniff test. So why? When somebody comes across you, if you haven't been referred to by somebody that they know or recommended, people may see your ad. They may, walk past your stall at a mall or on a BTS or MRT. But if they're interested, then they're going to go and do what we call a Google sniff test. I think one of the leading marketers of Australia coined this term. So people will then go and look at your website. They will look at, are you walking and you're talking your social media? They might go and have a look at some of your long form stuff on YouTube, and make a decision if you're somebody that they want to follow and do business with. So why is that? Because they might also check for news coverage or products reviews as well, in Reddit and these types of platforms. They want to know that you're legitimate. And since, COVID and the pandemic, we had a lot of scams, for lack of a better word. And there's more and more of them coming in online. So people are cross-checking a lot more regularly. So if they see your product has been reviewed by, a reputed publisher, or you've been interviewed by a well-known reporter, this adds credibility to you and your products and service. So this is what we mean by, getting past the online stuff that you are going to do and basically passing the Google sniff test online. Next, please. All right, getting to the heart of what you got to do in 2025. Everybody's got their calendars out, right? So as you saw, in even us, we're prepping for 2025 for the marketing meetup. And this is just one of the things that we're prepping for. We also have other things that we're prepping for in other spaces for other products and services that we will be promoting or PRing about or creating social media content about. So depending on your business cycle, I used this theme a little bit earlier with somebody, and it was around the ideas of like, if you're selling product or services geared towards students or schools, right? So that cycle is cyclical. So when does the school close? When do they reopen? When do kids, need uniforms? When do they need shoes? When do they need backpacks? When do they need a lot of stationaries? So if that be the case, then you gotta, plan around those cycles, and then you want to create your monthly themes. Now, once you've done that, then what you want to do is like, okay, what is my e-news content? Even if you're starting with just 10 email addresses, start it, because it will become a habit. Because every time you create your e-newsletter, whether that's a half a page or a 1 A4 page, the equivalent thereof, because it is virtual and online, when you commit to making that content, you want to be able to mail it out to enough people. So you will become more dedicated into collecting the email of people that you want in your newsletters. And I'm very happy to recently see somebody that I know in LOS. I had been encouraging her to start a WhatsApp group and then starting an e-newsletter, and that she's been doing it regularly and consistently. So very happy for her. So then you can make a decision, are you going to commit to this weekly? Is it every 2 weeks or is it monthly? Now, if you're not a news channel, you don't need to do daily. You don't need to be like breaking news and all this other stuff. But whatever it is that you can commit to, for us, it is weekly. So we do send it out, we haven't made it to a specific day every week, but we do it weekly. So, and I always tell the team like, hey, what we have, let's start loading it on Friday. And then by Monday or Tuesday, we start editing it. And normally it's going out on Wednesday or Thursday. And with your permission, we will add you to our e-newsletter. Please add Brandnow.asia as a safe sender. And we're also starting to use our new domain, which is innovatenow.asia. Innovatenow.asia is the parent company of Brandnow.asia, wellnessnow.asia, and BBCN. So just FYI. Podcast, same for that. Are you planning to do that weekly, every 2 weeks, or monthly? But just to go back to the e-newsletter, if you're planning to do the e-newsletter, I wouldn't go less than monthly. Yeah. Same with a podcast. I wouldn't do less than one for monthly. Why? Because the podcast business has really been booming a lot since the pandemic. And we want you to stay top of mind. And to stay top of mind, minimum monthly is really important. Now, meetup, that could be an in-person situation or a webinar like what we do, which is it's live, but it's not, it's live, it's online and it's in person. But for some people, they want to do it in a physical place. Now you have to make a decision, like how much time and effort could you commit to that, and then just do it regularly. And as a result of doing the monthly meeting webinar, answering the big questions that people have had, it's been really making us very systematic in how we organize this. But obviously, because we also have a lot of different things that we want to get done, and because we know, like, okay, we're prepping for, we're about to get on a webinar for November, we got to prep now for December. So as you saw, we already have December ready to go. And then after this finishes, we're going to start prepping for January already. And we already have the speakers lined up. So just an FYI for those, if you're doing things with other speakers, I highly recommend to start booking them at least 2 months in advance. Because if you ask within 1 week or 2 weeks, their schedule may be a bit too full to be able to accommodate. And they also want to prep, right? And you want to have lead time to promote whatever event or webinar that you're doing. So for us, we put it on in our social media, we put it on, we send out a press release, we put it in our EDM, so we have time to roll all those things out to give people ample time to get reminders and get notifications so that they join the webinar. Okay, next please. Oops. We're back to the other recommendations that we have for you in the zero budget marketing. If you happen to be an expert in a field, a subject, you want to give talks at and share your expertise in your specific industry, because that also helps to attract and create awareness for you as let's say if you're an executive coach or you are the inventor of a particular brand, product, or service. You can get, involved in being a judge in a competition where there's a hackathon or something of that nature in your industry. So it, elevates your status a bit. Personal branding, you can create a strong online presence and share valuable content. I think desktop publishing has become so easy. I was talking to somebody and they were like, oh, no, you must have like a lot of equipment. No, actually, I just use a webcam most of the time for a lot of the things that I do, or my mobile phone, depending on, if I'm at my desk or if I'm just out and about. If your company happens to be in the space of doing charitable things or altruistic things, so you may be leading with a CSR program. I've had medias and reporters said to me that, you know, when advising our client is to let them know that don't just only do the CSR at the end of the year, because towards the end of the year, many of the, you know, mainstream medias are flooded with a lot of CSR projects. Or let's say like Beta Grow has been doing a big CSR project with like tree planting throughout the year. Now they want to invite the media to visit the mangrove forest. This is just an example. They just have so much on and there's not enough CSR reporters. So they suggested, especially if you're a smaller brand, try to do something that's not during the huge big season of CSR news, so that the media reporter has time and attention to get to them. Join professional networking, offer to help at these events. You can be a welcome host. You can help organize, you know, panel discussions and things like that. You could participate in the panel discussions or offer to be a moderator. That's also another way of building your personal brand or cascading your personal brand onto the product and services that you are selling and promoting. Participate in awards and nomination, get recognition in your industry. So that's another way of creating a branding so that it helps you. Okay. We're almost running to 3 p.m. So remember, our next webinar is going to be on the 17th of December, and we have Kun Monsani, who had formerly worked at Google, Amazon, and Accenture and Deloitte, and she became a startup. So if you are also thinking about that, you know, yeah, join us in December on the 17th. There will be a webinar. Okay, so we're dead at 3 p.m. I'm just wondering, does anybody have any questions or comments, or do you want to participate in our survey? We can bring back that slide, Sky. I see something. Okay, that's the link directly to the event pop. You can see your messages. Okay. Sky, do we want to stop the recording, please? For those who may be shy and just don't want to ask their questions like publicly. You're welcome to type in any questions that you may have before we end the webinar.